If you are an athlete, you must take it upon yourself to be an activist. We're going to continue to move forward because we know what we're doing is right.
Have you ever thought that we could be something more? Fighting for something so for sure.
I'll never regret taking a knee in protest of systemic oppression and police brutality.
Tell the people kick back, I got some more in store. I can feel it in my core.
The first time I was called the N-word was in college, when I went to the University of Washington.
Can you say it? Let's say it.
Beg your pardon?
First time I was called a nigger.
I don't use those kind of words.
Okay.
I'm made to inspire change, inspire greed. I'm made for this.
Imagine in 1946, there were only 4 black players in the National Football League.
To be an activist is to be
Jim Brown,
To be an activist is to be.
Kelvin Beachum,
To be an activist is to be.
Eric Reed,
To be an activist is to be.
Warren Moon,
To be an activist is to be.
Doug Williams.
To be black is to be Super Bowl MVP.
To be black is to be proud.
This activism is his medicine. Change my field like John Wooten. I can show you what a legend is.
I am John Wooten, and these are our stories.
So irrespective of where you're from, what we see here are examples of folks from the East Coast, West Coast, from the North, from the South, that have a shared experience of having to overcome obstacles of racism. And this example of being able to overcome allows us stories and paths and ways forward. So their example is one that shines for us in important, deliberate ways.
The first time I realized I would be treated differently because of the color of my skin was after winning a bowl game for SMU.
This one particular day in elementary school, I recall walking to class and the teacher grabbing me by the back of my neck.
Because I was black, I wasn't gonna be good enough. Because I was black, I wasn't gonna be able to make it out the neighborhood. It pushes me every day to make sure that all barriers are removed and everyone has an opportunity to make their dreams become a reality.
The N-word to me is not something I like to talk about. I went to the University of Washington. I was the first African-American quarterback to start up there. Came out of the tunnel. There was somebody over on the side just, letting me have it.
To be black is to be challenged. And my mom and my dad always told us, don't be out there walking the street. But my grandmother needed me, and I went to the store. On my way back, I got hit in the face with a milkshake. Just a band of cars come through there with those rebel flags flying, and we all knew what that stood for. I stand for justice.
Being black in New Mexico at that time was like being black across the nation, maybe even worse. We don't want you to bring your colors when you come to play us.
Got pulled over. Didn't think none of it. Thrown into the back of a police car, taken downtown, put in the mentally challenged part of a jail cell down in Dallas County. Football is a platform for equality.
After losing the national championship to Alabama, it was a normal day. And so as I turn on the street, there's 2 officers on motorcycles and they turn their lights on and they pull me over. He leans in the car about 6 inches from my face and screams the Miranda rights at me. Even as a guy who had just been on the national championship stage, who was well known on campus and All-American, in everyday life, I'm just a black kid in the state of Louisiana. Being a black athlete is to be given responsibility.
I was very aware when I signed to play with the Houston Oilers, I was going to play in the South. So having my son come to my locker after a game in tears, wondering why people are calling his dad certain names, that experience hurt me. It affected the way I played on the field. It affected the way I performed in the huddle. And compartmentalizing a lot of that anger and a lot of that negativity that was inside of me that I buried in order to keep moving forward and keep improving. I'm not gonna say I got used to it, but I'm gonna say that it really hardened me as far as understanding, that there's a lot of bigotry and a lot of racism in our country.
Once June Jones and some of the staff there at SMU called down to the station to find out about the situation, there was no recollection of that actually ever happening. And I think for me, that's when I realized what it was like being black.
Ooh, they love you on that field though, boy.
Who you telling?
60 years in the making, fighting for the same old changes. Oh.
I look at being a blocker, running interference, clearing the way, helping those that need help to score the touchdowns. The touchdowns are life or what?
Hey, can we make this clear? I want to be super clear that this photo should be the image that defines the term activism. To sacrifice yourself to lead the way for those that come behind you. Number 60, John Wooten, leading the way for not only Jim Brown, but for all black athletes who will follow his footsteps.
You must take it upon yourself. You are going to work, you're going to give, you're going to be a part of showing your respect for human dignity.